spawning. In red, it's going to be Socke from alternate attacks. So, yeah, cross spawn could it be better, right?
Well, you know, it's funny because, like, in Tomb Valley being one of the bigger maps in the pool, some of the most effective usage of cross spawn I've seen from Terran players are when they go for like 2 racks pressure. Not like an all-in or like, you know, proxy or anything like that, but I just mean good old-fashioned, simple, classic 2 racks pressure.
Yeah, Marauder with concussive with reactive marines.
But we'll have to see what Socke chooses to do, because again, you know, the introduction of the Mothership makes pushes like that a little more difficult to pull off. Still entirely viable, but much more difficult to deal with.
Yeah, I agree. The Mothership core did change a lot against that early aggression, but I feel the replacement of like the Turex has been like what we saw last game, so the Marine push with the Widow Mine instead.
Oh man, Widow Mines. I can't tell you, every time I watch pro players play, I sit here, fingers crossed, hoping and begging we're going to see a Proxy Factory, because that is my favorite thing, TVP, right now. Proxy Oracles and Proxy Factories.
I don't think I would like you on ladder too much, to be honest.
I would be my win rate on ladder right now is literally 100% TVP since I started proxying factories. That's quite silly. Now, of course, that's not like an all-in build that like you win no matter what off of, but it is an annoyance like that any Protoss player does not want to have to deal with. Widow Mines in general, proxied or not. But right now we do have our players just scouting around. They do know horizontal is disabled, but that's it. So vertical, cross, still options, as we see both players scout the wrong locations initially.
Yeah.
HeRoMaRinE also not cutting a worker. You'll have to see players around the 14 mark. They cut the SCV production for like a second just so they can get that second supply depot up to make sure no probes come in and scout the base. But playing gases like this, I guess HeRoMaRinE doesn't quite care.
But it kind of depends actually on the player. I feel some players like to keep the probe out, but some like to just get the probe, let the probe in and trap it. So the probe is 100%. They're 100% sure that probe.
Oh yeah,
isn't gonna proxy a Stargate.
Fuser does that every single time. He just baits workers into the base, lifts the supply depot after, is like, haha, gotcha.
Yeah, but I think it's a very smart thing to do. Because now this probe, as you see, is just wandering around the map and...
Well, it's a free kill. I mean, probes are the most... Of all the workers you can let go, probes are definitely the most dangerous because, as you said, the potential for proxies.
Yeah.
But, alright, Socke just chilling outside the base. We do have a Marine down here, 2 Marines out here. So, I mean, he's going to want to come back in for a scout, and, oh, that's not going to work for him.
He's going to see what
he does see the CC, though, yeah.
Yeah.
But having seen the Nexus as well...
No, he actually hasn't seen the command center.
Oh, did he not?
It was just out of range, just like...
Oh, man, yeah, I'm looking at that.
like a fraction of a second longer.
It's like a half... He's got half of the command center covered. Like, how does that... Whatever. We do have the Nexus confirmed, though, for HeRoMaRinE. So Socke playing a little more blind, but not by a whole lot. And, yeah, again, we have HeRoMaRinE go for the same build he did last time. Racks, 3cc, no gas. We'll probably add his guys who's on here momentarily, but you know, having the bunker up, having the Marines up, it's going to thwart off any early Protoss pressure. By having these 3CCs up, your economy is just going to skyrocket compared to your opponent.
Yeah, well, we saw Socke already cut like a corner compared to last game. He like cut a Zealot and goes for a sentry as soon as possible.
I really like that he's going for these early robo facilities, because whether he's going to rush Colossus or something, which is actually, sadly, a viable strategy when your opponent goes pure bio, he's also going to have the capability to have observers on the field. And HeRoMaRinE last game showed he's willing to be aggressive with Widow Mines. The last thing you want to do is get caught off guard.
Yeah, as a Protoss, you definitely don't want to roll without the robo in your opening stages of your build, simply because of the Widow Mine threat. I mean... Yeah, cannons work, but let's say Socke puts... Yeah?
I was gonna say, like, last game he had, like, what, 5 observers? Something insane on the field?
Yeah, but I think he will go with perhaps 3, maybe 4 right now, simply because the Zalnaga Tower gives you control over the entire center movement.
Yeah.
So well, it makes it a bit better.
Well, I was gonna say, either way, whether you're using the tower or not, by having a lot of observers on the field, you might as well have all your own little personal towers.
Yeah, or a sensor tower, right?
Man, I can't tell you how glad I was when people started incorporating sensor towers back into their play.
Yeah, I think they're still a bit underused sometimes.
Oh yes, I agree with that entirely because it's the fact that it's pretty fragile. It's actually fairly mineral intensive as far as the requirement of gas and minerals to build it, but it does give you some of that crucial information. However, if you know your opponent's not someone who's going for that warp prism, and you're able to keep a tab on all the proxy pylons around the map, then you don't really need one. So it's kind of why you don't see it incorporated so much into builds. But yes, I agree. I do like seeing it on the map.
Yeah, definitely in like the longer stages of the game, because like in the late game PvT, War Prism Harass becomes a bit
Oh no!
more of a liability.
Look at the natural Socke. A little bit of accidental gas mining there. 6 on 3 and 0 on the other.
Yeah, I forgot to split them. Happens. Small mistakes like that. Everybody makes them.
Well, I'd say it's a small mistake, but if you're playing something gas crazy, like I don't know if he's gonna go for that Robo just yet, but he's got +1 weapons on the way. There we go, Robo now coming. He's gonna need all that gas. There we go. Does fix it. Hopefully that wouldn't go on for too long.
And opting to go for weapons first rather than armor.
I read something
I
about.
don't want to make a bold prediction, but usually when a Protoss is researching weapons like this fast and he's chrono boosting it quite heavily, he perhaps wants to hit like. Never mind. I wanted to say a 117 gate Colossus.
Yeah, but when you get the Nexus. Yeah.
Yeah.
I do like
totally
these things
down there.
But one thing I do want to comment on here as well, like. I'm curious about your point of view on this. I read something on Reddit about this. I don't play Protoss enough to know whether this will be effective or not, but someone was saying instead of hallucinating Phoenixes, people should start hallucinating Oracles. That way you can like scare workers off the mineral line or something like that.
Well,
I'm curious,
some people pull, but I mean it's gonna be really obvious if you fly in with the Oracle and the Oracle does like nothing.
Just hovers there like, oops,
Yeah,
forgot to turn on my weapon.
But it might force like emergency turrets from a Terran, for example. That it like just quickly throws them down as a response, and then it's of course a small victory, but it's a thing. The Oracle isn't that much slower than a Phoenix, so
We do have, I want to say, like, again, he's just continuing to chrono his Forge for every upgrade. I mean, +1's already on the field, +1 armor's about to finish. With the Colossus count in the numbers of 2, do you think Socke will push? Well,
Ooh,
hold that thought. Looks like HeRoMaRiNE's going to be the one to
push.
push.
Tell. I mean, definitely on Entombed Valley, your defensive position as Protoss is so nice. You just don't want to be stuck on like that little crossover between natural and third. If you know what I mean.
Yeah, right here where the probes are currently.
Yeah, where the army is currently standing near. You don't want to get stuck there, but we have a push moving out from HeRoMaRiNE here. Just a standard 10-minute timing.
But I mean, like, last time he was shut down by a combination of the overcharge, which Mothership Core has more than enough energy for 2. So whether he hits the third, whether he hits the natural, with these sentries to force field in for this Colossus, HeRoMaRiNE could, yeah, I like that he chose one Marine to scout, one HeRoMaRiNE.
Yeah, you saw the Colossus again, but this time Socke is switching it up completely. Last time he went for the one Colossus without range, but now he's getting range, blink before charge. I like that as well.
Oh, I really like also the choice to get Hellbats incorporated with the army here for HeRoMaRiNE. Last time he was shredded by Zealots, but forget that. They've got so much health, they can tank quite a bit of the Colossus damage.
Yeah, definitely because they get healed by the Medivacs as well. I'm not gonna be outspoken about that, by the way.
Well, I mean, like, these are units that have more health than Marauders, man, for what is effectively cheaper cost.
Yeah, I think they're really, really solid.
But I mean, they are so important when it comes to dealing with the Zealots. I mean, you can hit and run with Marauders with concussive shells and Marines all day, but, that's going to cost you your stims, and it's going to eventually wear you down, whereas Hellbats, you can just take the fight. They're that front line, they're beefy, they're chunky, and they do that nice cone of AoE damage.
Yeah, but also how the army organizes itself. The Hellbats will have the 2 range, so they will always be at the front, so you don't have, like, for example, army like dancing around in the back or something. Like you sometimes have with Stalkers and Immortals.
Hellbats aside, 3 Colossus on the field. Viking production now underway, but you're going to need a lot of Vikings. Yeah, you're going to need a lot of Vikings to deal with this.
They can Starport finishing up.
HeRoMaRiNE does see this, actually. He was just picked off with one of his Marines in the middle of the field. So he knows the Colossus count is 3. And oh, the Zealot can actually take out this Hellion. HeRoMaRiNE not watching.
And how many gates are we having from Socke at the moment? It's going up to almost 12 gates.
Wow, with 5 already on the field, that's going to make for a hell of a lot of warp-ins here, Nova.
Yeah, he's definitely looking for a nice 3-base timing off of this, but it gives HeRoMaRiNE the time to perhaps get enough Vikings from his double reactor starport right now.
I like that he's finally got the Mobius reactor on the way, but I do wish he would have already had ghosts on the field. Not for worrying about EMP of Templar or anything, but stripping the shields off those Zealots will make the Hellbats just absolutely eat them.
Yeah. I think the combination of EMP plus Hellbats it makes Zealots basically useless.
Yeah, charge lob or not.
Yeah. Because if you look, the Zealots' shields will disappear, that's 33% of their HP. And then it's basically 3 shots from, well, 1 shot from 3 Hellbats and it dies.
Well, both players on 2-2 to 2-1 right now. Fairly even upgrades. We do have 3 and 3 on the way for our Protoss player, but it is a little bit off. I like the Southern Warp in too. Going to try and poke in with some Zealots just to get a feel for what's going on around here. Seeing that there's no 4th base or anything such like that. 3 Marines versus 3 Zealots though.
Yeah,
That's
this is like the last spot I would actually find a little skirmish like that, like at some random location on the map. 3 Marines against 3 Zealots, but that's okay.
Well, here we're going to lose another Marine, sadly. But, yeah, I feel like if he can secure this 4th, like, forget the fact that the Protoss player is also on 4th bases, but if HeRoMaRinE can secure this 4th, he's not going to mind losing this army, because he'll have the resources. I mean, look at his base, he's got so many barracks. He's got the production to replace this army. This is like, that's the catch I feel in a lot of these TVP matchups, where Terran players just start falling behind in production, because how can you keep up with 11 gates on the field?
Yeah, it's a lot of gates to deal with, but also look at what Socke has at that little corridor on the left side of the map. He has like a nice sort of backdoor.
Yeah, he's able to hit from any direction right now, but oh man, I love the ghosts. 5 ghosts with this army, whether it's snipes, whether it's just their basic damage. Let's not forget they do a ton of light, but it's these Vikings. He needs to be able to connect to these Colossus.
Careful.
There's so many Colossus here though, Dirk. I mean, 6 Colossus gonna just shred this army to bits. The Vikings have to find some way in. Use this dead space that the Stalkers can't reach them in, and just shell away. But no, looks like HeRoMaRinE is just gonna run for the time being.
I think he wants to fight in the open rather than in like sort of a choke where he can get cut off by force fields.
Oh man,
but
back
he has
at
to
home.
be careful though. The Zealots are... Oh.
Nova out.
Okay.
Slowing the game down, bruh.
Game resumed.
Alright, well, sorry about that. Awkward, as always, but alright. So yeah, continuing to chase down here towards the southern part of the map. Zealots are going to pull back for the time being, and the 2 Zealots that were on the offensive are going to get cleaned up. Sadly, not too much damage done here for Socke. Actually, didn't even pick up any workers. Yeah, a couple workers, not a big deal. But with the planetary established and the Hellbats where they need to be, Socke... I mean, this is the best fight that HeRoMaRinE can take, an offensive one at home, I feel. Because he'll have this gap they can set the Vikings over top of. He'll have the planetary to help deal with any of the ground forces, but I mean, it's just so scary looking at Sokke's army. 6 Colossus, 3 Archons, 19 Zealots. I mean, while we've got EMPs, while we've got Hellbats available for the Zealot shredding, if you will. Oh, I like this cloaking moving forward. Gotta snipe off that Observer to effectively use the Ghost, though. Colossus are being taken out by these Vikings, though. Stalkers can't turn around to fight, because if they do, they'll be shredded. They are being shredded. HeRoMaRinE going to turn this entire map around on Socke. Socke losing these slow tech units is really deadly as well, because we have plenty of warp in potential, but not a lot to replace these Colossus. Only 1 robo on the field, and big EMPs going down on these Zealots. Hellbats, unfortunately, though, not on the front lines, but the Colossus go down. Vikings should land and help with the army. HeRoMaRinE should have enough to clean this up, guys. He's going to keep pushing forward. Archon's the last thing standing here for Socke. Several Zealots being warped in, but not being utilized. And HeRoMaRinE just going to push into the 4th base location. Evacuating immediately is Socke as he realizes he cannot take this fight without Colossus. 3 robos producing Colossus at a time here, guys. It's going to drain his bank quick, but he's still got a bank to drain. Meanwhile, as we see, 71 workers do still live on the field. Probes being evacuated to God knows where. Just wants to get them out safe. But yeah, HeRoMaRinE taking a really nice engage there. Catching Socke kind of on the back burner like, oh, looks like I may have come a little too far. And plus 3 weapons even on the way. So, I mean, these Vikings are keeping up attack very nicely. Storms, though, I believe are on the field. Let me check this. Yes, we do have Storm available. And while Vikings are nice, and so is Bio, they do clump. Everything here clumps and will be so susceptible to Colossus Fire and Storms. And we do have 3 Templar here available, a couple with Storms ready, a couple without. And if he can catch HeRoMaRinE while he's clumped, he's going to be in the best position he can be. As we have this another push up here into the northern part of the map. Nexus will fall, or at least be cancelled. But look at these ghosts on the front lines. If you can just pick off the Observer, these ghosts can't be touched. Zealots are charging into everything. EMPs going off left and right. Probably way too many, but who cares? As the Templar are rendered ineffective. Vikings chasing down the last Colossus, shredding into bits, and the Bio Army persists to push forward. There's not too many Socce's left at this point. Zealots running all over the place. This fourth base, I'm not sure if that was cancelled or not. Sorry guys, I just barely missed it. But now we have nukes. Now we have Immortals, changing it up for both players as they continue to advance forward in this game. And the big thing about this too is Socke is losing his fourth base, which absolutely sucks. It's going to affect his economy, but more importantly, HeRoMaRinE, not only on 4, not only on 5, but soon to be a 6th base. There's a pilot here blocking this, he'll have to take care of that, but he's going to be owning basically half the map to the small quarter that Socke currently has. But yeah, I mean, this is getting crazy. We got Dark Templar coming as well. I love this choice out of Socke. It's this late in the game, you're not going to expect your opponent to come at you with Dark Templar. And I've seen players lose countless amounts of workers to late game DTs. But they can also just be used for Archons. We'll have to see what he chooses to do with them. I'm actually looking for the army. There we go. No, it was somewhere around here. But yeah, I mean, he's seen the EMPs. He knows there's ghosts. He knows there's Hellbats. He's got to sort of cut the Zealot production. Despite having 11 gates, these Zealots are, as Nova said earlier, effectively useless. I mean, how many ghosts is this on the field? 22 ghosts, guys. Whether they're cloaked with the EMP, who cares? Because they do 26 damage to light and have that massively long range. Viking production was cut though. I mean, I don't think he realizes that Colossus are still being produced, but he doesn't have that many, so I mean, the Viking count should be more than sufficient, and nuke coming down here. Oh, I just realized the target's where the ghost is on the minimap, not where the actual nuke is. Socke does see the little dot though, luckily. And oh no, the probe's coming back! Or actually just barely out of range, so never mind. Rifkin freaking out about nothing, guys, but is going to try and bait a fight out over top of this ghost. Has to be so careful. Is Socke going to lose his army, whether it's to the nuke? I don't think he even needs the nuke, as the Marauders are just shelling everything. Nuke's about to hit. Socke going to back into it with his Colossus, losing every single part of his army to that nuke. Not that I think he needed it, because again, look at HeRoMaRiNE's army, guys. This is massive. This is crazy. So many ghosts, so many Marauders still on the field. A GG out of Socke.